Alrighty, this is my project for the life and death assignment. We have a few components I can show off. We have the health and we have the health player BP. These basically have the functionality that we built in class. Take damage, heal, die, and we'll update the UI, but we'll come back to that later when it's actually needed. The health component for the player is essentially just this. The player does have the ability to heal. When they press the H key, it will heal them for an amount of 10. We'll go ahead and demonstrate that. When we run over the landmine, minus 50%, but when we hit H, back up to 100. We do have death functionality in the game. This is built into the health BP. Basically just when the player takes enough damage, they die. I can show you the demonstration of that real quick. We'll just use the instant kill. And it reloads the level. And the player can die permanently. And it'll take it to the game over screen. Alrighty, for the game mode in the game instance section of the project, we have the game instance BP, which controls the logic for this particular level. We have the on player death, and it sets the player lives, and it will eventually kill the player if they run out of lives. We have the score functionality, which is the win condition. And we have this little bit of information to show the player the actual score they have. For the game modes, we mostly have a main menu one, which is just pretty simple. It's create the main menu widget and then add it to viewport, so there's functionality for that. And for a singleton is just essentially, this is the wrong thing, there it is, Chasing Sphere. A singleton is basically just there is only one instance of this particular object in the game, so when you call this object type, since it's the only one available, that's the only one the computer can grab. So for example, there's only one player, so you only need to put player index 0. You shouldn't have to change that at all. That would be a singleton. Alrighty, for the lives and score functionality, I'll open the game instance. So this is the player lives functionality. It's just grab lives if it's less than 0 or equal to 0. It will reload the game if that is false, and if it is true, it will just start over the game. And we have a score functionality. So it gets the current score and the total score. It will add them together, and when it eventually reaches this amount, the game will end. And you can check the score, which we'll do so I can show you that it persists between lives. So let me load it up. Alright, so when I press L, we have 0, no score yet. Let's go ahead and pop these balloons real quick. So that's 1. And if I go ahead and get this character killed, there we go. Yep, it persists in between levels, so we still have 1. Alrighty, for the single purpose principle, we have a couple of examples of that. Basically, the single purpose principle is just all the code that needs to be in a component should only contain that information. So example, the health component should only have information relating to health, which it does. It has take damage, heal, die, and update the UI. Whereas the landmine BP has only the information that it needs, which is it an instant kill and to explode and damage the player. For abstraction and encapsulation in the project, we use abstraction to hide information, so we're using it right here actually. We are just damaging the player. That's all the person looking at this code needs to understand, that when this action occurs, it will damage the player. And the take damage information is stored within this function in the health component. All you need to know as the player, or not necessarily the player, but as a different coder on the project, is that when this event happens, the player will take damage. And for encapsulation, that's basically the same thing with the health component. All the information that is needed for the health component is located within the health component. It's not needed anywhere else, so it's only stored within this component. Alrighty, and for our UI functionality, we have the UI BP. which is pretty simple and basic. Right now it's just the canvas and the horizontal bar, so we can place everything just in a straight line across. We don't have to do any, we don't have to like zoom in and actually manually place everything in the right spot. We have functionality for the health, so when you take damage, you will actually, it'll display that loss in health through the update health bar functionality. And the game does have start game and game over functionality, which I think I showed earlier, but I'll just show again anyway. So here's the welcome page of the game. You can just hit start or quit. Quit will quit the game. And start will start the game if the player character dies enough. So let's do that real quick. It will give you the game over screen, which you can then quit the desktop, or you can do try again, which will bring you back to the welcome screen. Alrighty, and we do also have functionality to actually play the game. We have a standalone build completed and finished. The project is done building. We have the welcome screen. We just got to hit tab, start, or Windows key to start it. And the game does fully function. I'm just going to reach the score points real quick. And there we go. When you win the game, it'll take you back to the welcome page. And you can also die. So let me do this real fast. There we go. And back to the welcome page.